Welcome back to BLOCKTV. It's time now for Traders Take, and after the violent breakdown that we saw yesterday, markets seem to have steadied. Bitcoin holding pretty flat for the last 24 hours. So to help us break down what this all means and whether we're likely to see any further movement, we turn, of course, to our very own technical analyst from New York, Joe Saz. Joe, it's all gone a bit flat now. What does that mean? I mean, does that mean we're out of the dark times and we can pause for breath here, or do you think this is just the calm before the storm?
Well, I guess we've had the opportunity to pause for breath, but it hasn't really felt like that because we're in such a dangerous territory. Now, the thing is, can we take a breath here or not at this point in time? I don't think so. There's people that buy the F-word dip all the time, right? There's like this huge movement, buy the BTFD, buy the dip, right? The BTFD. Now, if there
we
aren't
can say
any
fuck
people...
on BLOCKTV, Joe. Don't fret. You can swear.
Okay.
It doesn't matter.
So we have buy the fucking dip movement, and it is not working. It is going nowhere. In fact, we have two red candles following what was that, 13% downside move in a single day. So if there is, like, my argument this whole time has been that bulls are exhausting their financial power. And I don't think that there's any, if we're in an organic market space, then the bulls are washed out already. And it's just a matter of time before sellers really realize that, and then the rest of sellers compete to sell. I think a lot of the big accumulators have dumped their bags, and I don't think that I think they did it around 10K. Remember how I was explaining those the big volume moves to the downside on the 5-second chart, followed by the no liquidity or the low volume or no volume moves to the upside? That was very orchestrated, and I think the big sellers, the bag holders that wanted to dump their Bitcoin, at least the ones that are on the inside of the circle, have probably done so already. So now we're talking about now everyone else's turn to sell. And it's going to get nasty, I think, at that point. That's what, for the past months I've been saying, I believe an organic market space is going to lead us down further. And I think that's part of what the breakdown was, and what this breakdown will continue to be. Now let me quickly bring us to screen share. The 15-minute chart is a bit dead, so we're not going to spend too much time here. But you can see that we do have some technical activity playing out. But still, here's D-Day right there. Big wicks to the upside. This is reported by Coinbase Pro. Now, Asher, it's important to note that I saw this go down as low as 7,900 on other exchanges. Okay, so this Coinbase Pro definitely had some volatility, but not as much as others. So and the price gap between numerous exchanges ranged at one point about $500. So as you can see, I'm paying attention to multiple price stamps. Now we've revisited the body low area. So let me draw a little bit of a array here. Let me get this right there. Let's just do this here. So we're kind of we're fine. I mean, we're days into this. Okay, I'm not going to call anything support just yet. Right. I'm just going to say we're going sideways. The buy the fucking dippers are not really capable of doing too much damage to the sellers. So it looks like what's probably happening. Let me reload this. Actually, I think I've cleaned it up a little bit. So what's happening, I think, is we're now kind of consolidating. I think everyone's in a price discovery type mentality. And this is what scares me. Okay, we're resting. We punctured the 200-day moving average twice. Now we've been supported by it. We haven't had a body close beneath it, but you can see how rapidly it is moving up. So just a couple of days from now, even grinding sideways means that we're going to be underneath the 200 moving average, maybe 4 to 7 days from now. So we have a bearish crossover the short and intermediate term moving averages. We have a definite, whether we grind or break down or whatever, we have a 200 moving average ascending relatively quick. And so that basically means that, I get very bearish very soon here. We're like, I can't say it enough. I mean, I've been bearish for a long time, but now I'm double extra bearish. And I don't think that I'm a bear in denial at this point in time. I think that was debatable around here, but I think considering recent events and that question, where is the money coming from? I really think that my answer to that question, has Joe been a bear in denial, I don't think that's the case. I think I was, properly analyzing the space and making, the best educated guesses with the facts available at the time.
Joe,
So,
I want to ask you something though on the technical element there, because you said if we continue moving along sideways, and given that pattern we were seeing around the 10,000 mark previously, if we continue moving sideways, inevitably the 200 MA is going to catch up with the price point as it stands within the next, let's say week or so. Does that, in your mind, lead to potential for a bigger breakdown, or do you think the market can continue to slide along sideways at this pace, just slip below the 200 MA and that be no big thing? Or do you think that's likely to cause a significant technical shift in the way people are calculating their trades?
yeah, I would say yes, only because we've seen this play out in just about every other cryptocurrency. Now let's just get back to the charts for a second. It's this alone, okay? I would say is a bit of a red flag. But combined with the fact that if we were to grind sideways about the time that we close below the 200 moving average, we're also experiencing a bearish crossover of the short and intermediate term moving averages. There's kind of a couple things that make me extra bearish. If I was just to focus on that one thing, Asher, I would say it would still, just this one moving average alone, if we were to grind sideways and close beneath it, that would still make me bearish, in excluding every other technical element on the table here. Closing below the 200 is going to make me very bearish. And just to take a quick look through history, after we went parabolic, what happened? We had a similar instance where we fought it, grinded, and then basically never saw it again. We had a bearish crossover of the short and intermediate term moving averages that actually preceded the move, the close below the 200 moving average. But as you can see, we broke down violently beneath it. Once we had a sufficient, we closed it a little bit beneath it. We had a little bit of a fight. And as you can see here, we closed beneath it again on a neutral spinning top, broke down violently, tested it, broke down, tested it twice, and basically didn't see it again until months later. And it proved to be very, very valid resistance numerous times until we broke out April 2nd. So I really think that I said a little while ago that I feel like this parabolic run-up is a mini version of what happened in 2017, 2018. This is the mini 2017, this is the mini 2018, and here we are breaking down. And this breakdown, if you notice, here's a big, big red candle followed by two kind of price discovery areas. Now, if we look over here, we had something kind of similar, a big breakdown underneath the descending triangle, a little bit of a wick, which we've had, a little bit of price discovery, sideways grind, and then just complete annihilation again and again and again and again for days. So it's very possible that this is what we're looking at. From the bottom of this descending triangle at 5,800 down to a low of approximately 3,100 is, let's say, 40%. So, from high to low, though, 6,300 down to that bottom is about a 50+% move. I can easily see this doing something similar, and that's why I'm kind of sticking to my 4,500 price range. I still think that we need to revisit this area where I believe this was an accumulation area, and let's assume it was organic, okay? This means that if there are millionaires and billionaires willing to buy Bitcoin at this price, what should have happened is the price would have gone up, it would have come back down, a little bit of accumulation, It would have been accumulation zone for quite some time, but no, we went parabolic. We built no support along the way. So we're sitting in a very theoretical territory. As you can see, we're intersecting areas where there might have been previous price action, but no real support. So I'm not really convinced of anything, and I'm looking at a local time scale, okay? Only because this is a parabolic run-up. I'm not zooming all the way out, and saying, all right, here we have, some support maybe at this point. It's acted as, support or resistance in previous areas. I'm just comparing these support and resistance areas to the existing parabolic run-up. So, yeah, I'm a little skeptical about the future of Bitcoin right now, especially on the short-term scale. I'm not going to jump in and try to front-run a decision here. I want to wait and see what happens as we grind into or through and under this 200 moving average, and especially coupled with the bearish crossover of the short and intermediate term moving average, which is the 50 in yellow there, and in purple we have the 128, which has historically been pretty important for Bitcoin as a moving average. But onto the part of the reason why I feel like we're going to break down violently is because it pretty much happened to everyone else, everything else across the board. I mean, we have Ethereum having broken down violently beneath the 200 moving average, tested, failed, broke down violently, slow grind up, and this was kind of the alt season hype. This is when people started getting super excited about alt season. But we have bearish crossover, short and intermediate term moving average, bearish crossover, short and long term moving average. We have alt season hype, and then we have just utter devastation. 17% move to the downside relative to Bitcoin's 13, was it? 12%. So it's looking a bit ugly. Just local support is all I'm looking at right here. Take a quick look at dominance just to see if anything is falling behind. Let me reload this page. Sometimes the internet's a bit of a drama queen, All right, well, we'll give that time to load. I mean, we're across the board. I mean, this was a pretty bad 3 days ago. 12% with XRP. Wick space probably makes that about, almost double. Low of 20 cents. Oh man, and that's. I mean, I'm not trying to be mean here or anything, but this is just not looking like a really good technical picture. We've re-entered a wick space that was already very bearish. It looks like we're starting to. Our rejection was pretty weak. I'm sure that a lot of this rejection, and we could maybe do this another time, but had a lot to do with low liquidity moves to the upside, like I've been discussing with Bitcoin. I don't know if this wick was the result of tons and tons of selling and then a big reversal, tons and tons of buying, or it could have just been tons and tons of selling, no sellers chasing the order book. And here's an order book for you here. This is sellers chasing the order book. There's 45 pack at this aggregation, followed by a 60 pack and a 50 pack on the sell side, and then a 26, 70, 80 pack and a 47 pack on the buy side. So the question is, when sellers are dumping, and you see in this space up here, there's no liquidity. There's 2 Bitcoin, 0.8 Bitcoin, 3. So these are the kinds of areas that get swept up really quickly. And my question would be, in this XRP space, is that basically what it was? There were no sellers chasing the book to the downside. So low liquidity sweep back to the upside that caused some that stimulated a little bit of bullish ideology, followed by a neutral spinning top that could potentially lead us to a little bit of a top here, and then a further breakdown, at least into this wick space, before making its next move, a continued downside move or a upside move. Now, I think we got our dominance chart up here, and it's kind of all over the place. We have in purple there BNB making a small move back up. We have Litecoin taking a negative move. We have Ethereum moving down and XRP slightly up against Bitcoin's sideways bearish activity, holding 70%. So it does seem like we have a little bit of curiosity. I would say there's uncertainty in the space. People are twitchy a little bit. People are nervous and scared, but I don't think people are ready to dump their bags. And that's why I'm not ready to enter a short position just yet, because we could very well have a bounce. We could have some swing traders that step in and make a little short-term move to the upside, possible, but I still want to make sure before any of that, before I enter any positions, that there is confirmation of either a steep breakdown or a steep breakout. A breakout target is going to bring us, let's say, I don't even want to assume it's going to be the bottom of the descending triangle. I want to assume, it isn't that far away though. Man, this is a tough call. I would say probably 9K is a good estimate. Maybe 9100 would be a good pullback target for now. But based on what I see, the dip buyers, and it's obvious that we're kind of breaking down. These are the dip buyers right here, by the way. Look at this, dust buys and big sells, whole number sells. We're breaking down right now. And look at that buyer, 0.01 Bitcoin, $100, $400, or maybe less now that we're underneath 10K. But we have serious sellers selling, big packs of Bitcoin. Here's a 1 pack of Bitcoin being bought, 2 pack, 3 pack. So yeah, maybe there are some buyers that are still in the ecosystem willing to buy this dip, but 5 packs, 1 packs aren't nearly enough, or to reverse this terrible the terrible activity that shut us down and probably just massacred a lot of long-term long positions there. So it's an interesting space. We're breaking down a little bit right now. I'm not going to worry too much until we close below the 200 moving average, or if we have a really, really convincing scenario that stimulates buyers, and I'm not seeing that. I'm leaning toward the bearish case scenario, but for now, I'm willing to say I'm 60-40. How about that? I'll say 60 bearish, 40 potential bullish bounce to the low 9K range.
All right, well, it seems there's still some chaos left in the market, unsure where things might take. Joe's leaning bearish, but still it can be tough to make those hard calls at this time when there's so much chaos reigning around, so much possibility in the air. Well, I want to thank you, Joe Saz, for helping to break it down for us today. Trying times ahead for everyone trading in the markets, so trade carefully out there. And in the meantime, stay with us at blocktv.com for all the latest in news and information. I'm Asher Westrop Evans. Thanks for watching.
For more news and updates, follow us on Twitter.